Hey y'all, welcome to Simple Conversations. This is KJ.
Hey, and it's Alice. So pause us for a minute, grab you something to drink, come back, sit down, and be a part of this conversation.
Because we have a lot to say. Welcome to Simple Conversations. So y'all, listen, this is our disclaimer. We're not here to give you any advice or tell you how to live your life.
Well, maybe just a little.
We're still trying to figure this thing out ourselves. Thanks for tuning in. Hey y'all, welcome back to Simple Conversations. Alice and I are super excited about what we have for you today. So this is one of many of a new series that we're doing, Amazing Courageous Women That We Know. And so we just know that today, this particular podcast is going to bless your socks off. So pull up a chair, get you something warm to drink, because you are really going to want to listen to this intentionally. So today, or tonight, I should say, because it is actually evening, it is November 22nd, 2020. We are still in 2020, y'all.
Still in 2020.
Still in 2020.
We have almost survived 2020.
We have almost survived 2020. Almost. I know, right?
Don't hold your breath.
I know. So anyway, tonight, this evening, we have an amazing young lady who has lived a lot already in her 26 years. She has experienced love and loss. In my opinion, I have deemed her an overcomer, and to get to where she is today. And I wanted to ask a few people that I knew personally that know her better than I do, how they would describe her. And so some of the words that I was given was bubbly, perky, an optimist, caring, thoughtful, beautiful, love, intelligent, lots of fun, and a zest for life.
Well, I'm excited now. I can't wait to meet her myself.
Does it open your ears and you want to pull a chair up? I just don't know what else would, because that to me is who we should all strive to be, right? Mm-hmm. So listen, listeners, today we have Julia Winterboer with us. And she was born in the Ukraine. She currently lives in Virginia. And I'm just super excited, and I feel blessed to know her. And so welcome, Julia.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. That was an amazing intro that I definitely gotta say.
I love that, right? Listen, people that know you better than I do said those incredible things about you. Seriously.
If people can see me, I'm just red as a tomato, because that is really nice. Oh my goodness. Wow.
You shouldn't be red. You shouldn't be red. Listen, I love how humble. Yeah. I love how humble you are. But just know that that's what people that love you think about you. So listen, Julia, tell us.
Well, first of all, KJ, how do y'all know each other? Because I'm new to this conversation, so I'm grabbing my cup of coffee and I'm going to, join in and ask questions intermittently, because I want to hear her story too. So how did y'all meet? How do y'all know each other?
I actually know Julia through a friend of mine who Julia is dating and in love with her son. And so, yeah. And listen, some of the most impactful words that were sent to me are actually from her future mother-in-law.
Oh, that's amazing.
Right. And so, and I just prophesied that. I just put that right on out there, your future mother-in-law. So anyway, and her boyfriend is lovely. I have known him for years, so that they're just a lovely family. But and they know good people when they are exposed to good people. So that's how I know Julia. I've spent some time with her in my hair salon. when I started asking her questions, she was just so forthright with her story. And her story, it's nothing to Alice for me to get emotional, but Julia, don't be surprised because, every single time, that I've got something that I get emotional about. But your story impacted me so much so that I knew that we had to share this because really, I believe it's going to add value to people's life.
Mhm.
It's going to give hope to people. It's going to give a fresh perspective about how you grew up, where you are now, what you're doing with your life, because it's an incredible story. And so I'm going to shrink back now so you can seriously begin to share that with us. So tell us where you were born. Tell us the birth name that you were given, and just start there.
Sure. Yeah, so I was born in Ukraine, in Gorlovka, which is the east side of Ukraine. There has been lots of conflict going on in Ukraine on the east side. So now it's actually not part of Ukraine anymore, unfortunately. And so the last time I actually went back was 2009, and I was really could go, back to my home and my town. But now, unfortunately, I just won't be able to even get through there. So people
Wow.
that I do still have that there, I won't be able to visit them. They have to come out from there to like Kiev, which is the center of Ukraine.
Oh,
Wow.
So
wow.
yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate part, but I mean, conflicts, you just got to kind of move on with that. But for my name, it is my original one. It's Afanasieva Yulia Anatolievna. And the way that it is said is it goes by my father's last name first, then my first last name, first name, and then the surname. So I take Afanasieva, which is the last name, Yulia, which is a Julia, and then Anatolievna, which is a surname, and Anatolievna is my father's name, first name. It's kind of a complicated part as to how it's broken down.
Interesting.
So
That's
they
so
put
interesting.
your name right in the middle of his name.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. So like if
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, because like if I'm just gonna take a teacher for example, because they call them by like like Mrs. Whoever here, but like in Ukraine you would be called Yulia Anatolievna. So you take your first name with your surname. You use your father's surname for that, for like a permission, for like if you're talking to like a higher somebody older than you. So
wow.
So when you get married, does that change there like it does here? So you would leave your father's name and take your husband's name, or would you maintain it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So you take your last name definitely changes. Your surname stays the same.
Okay.
Interesting how they do that to women all over the world. Just saying, like our identity is always wrapped up in a man. Sorry.
And the funny thing is, we're just going to go to marriage. We actually get married on the right hand instead of the left. So when I got here to the United States, we get divorced on the left. So when I got here to the United States, everybody wearing a ring on the left. I was so confused. I was like, why is everybody divorced?
That's so interesting. So they would keep their ring and change hands?
That's correct.
Oh, very interesting.
Yep.
That is interesting. If there's any American man listening to this right now and he ever took a ring back, shame on you. You should have just put it on the other hand.
That's so funny.
So Julia, what is your youngest memory that you recall as a child?
Ooh, before orphanage, after orphanage, we're talking like good, bad,
Before your youngest memory as a child.
Oh my goodness. Well, since young age, I would say I love dancing, honestly, but with my family situation that, in a more of a poorer side, we couldn't afford it. So, I mean, I went to like a couple free classes and then, it was time to pay the bill. My mother couldn't afford it, so I had to be pulled away from it. So I think that kind of stuck with me because I was like, man, I mean, imagine, right? You put kids through like gymnastics, soccer, you put them in those activities from a very young age, and many of them just come out so successful in that.
Right.
And they just become pros, for example, or just really good at that skill. And I'm just thinking of myself sometimes, I'm like, just imagine, right? If I didn't get pulled from that dance class, where would I be right now?
Yeah.
Because here in the United States, I danced, when I was in high school, and just in general, I enjoy it. So I was thinking sometimes, I'm like, man, what kind of hidden talents could I have had that would have just been so, if you put a time and energy into it, what could I have had that just been like, this is it, like the perfect diamond of that. But I mean, hey, I made things out for myself, even with all the obstacles I had to overcome.
So then that's going to take me into the next question. As a child, did you have any dreams about what your life would look like? Set aside what it actually did. Did you have dreams what your life would look like?
Certainly, I always strive to have more than I had. I was satisfied with what I had, but it was always, there's something in me that said, you know what, just keep praying. And it kind of goes into the religious part of that, because I was introduced to it at a pretty young age, but I always just kind of tried having like conversations in my head, just kind of like, what do you see yourself doing, or like what do you want, because my interest spiked up, and like I would be repeating dances that were on TV. I'm like, oh, I wish I was on TV, or I wish I could do that. It's just something that I kind of put in my head, and I'm like, okay, I wanted to travel. I hope I get that kind of opportunity someday. And I wanted to go to ocean. That was one thing my mother promised me, that she said that we were going to go to the ocean, and I always just kept that kind of little bit piece of that dream in my head, and I was like, we're going to do this. But unfortunately, things crumbled. But I at that young age, just thinking back before orphanage, dreams were a little bit different than they were at the orphanage. And then the dreams were much more different after the orphanage.
Okay. So then let's start. Do you ever recall a time when both of your parents, your mom and your dad, lived under the same roof as a child?
No, because when I was born, I think they already were divorced. And so my father lived with his mom in one town, and my mother lived maybe 30 minutes away in another town. And so she would come over sometimes, but it was not for a reason to live. She would just visit. And that
So
was,
primarily, did you live with your dad and your grandmother?
yes, I started off with living with my dad and my grandmother. And then it was almost like an exchange hands. I was passed on to my mom and was like, okay, now it's your turn.
So how old were you when you, in your words, when they exchanged hands?
I was about 6 or 7, because
Okay.
literally maybe a couple years later, I was in an orphanage. So it was not a long time that I lived with my mom, but up to like at least age of 6, I was with my dad.
So
Okay.
was it uncommon there, like it is here, for the father to have what we would call custody of a young child?
Not sure about that, to be honest, because I mean, would things change? Like that was back in, I don't know, 1999, I would say. I have no clue what kind of laws they even had with
Right.
that. So it's like, okay, here's a kid, I guess you take her, and then after X amount of years, I guess we can take her, or however that worked out. To be honest, all I remember was this group of people approaching me, and I'm just like, okay, what's mom doing here? And all of a sudden it was just like, all right, go ahead. And I just left with them, and the rest is history.
So you were never, they didn't prepare you that mom was coming with her people, like it just, so did your grandmother primarily take care of you when you were still living with your father?
Yes, she did. That woman was amazing. She was a gem in my life, and she just, I will forever be grateful for her, and I will always think of her, because she taught me how to read. She taught me alphabet. She taught me colors by clothes. That was how I learned the colors. What was this shirt? Blue. What were these pants? Burgundy, red. It was just simply that. And she was pretty strict with stuff, and that's what made me, as young as I was, just kind of concentrate and just live that life that I was provided by my dad, that was to the best of his ability at that time.
Okay. Why do you say that about your dad, to the best of his ability? Was what was going on with your dad?
Well, I come from a family of alcoholics, drug addicts. So that played a huge role when I was growing up. There was a lot of weed involved. There was a lot of drinking involved. And he held jobs left and right, kind of as best as he could. He put food on the table, yes. Um, But at the end of the day, it was just kind of, it was just really hard because, once everything was crushing down, it kind of was, you didn't know who to go to, because I don't know, he had he had friends, of course, who he can reach out to, but from what I was seeing as a kid, he did the best that he can with whatever job he held at that time. But unfortunately, drugs and alcohol played a big role with that. But as young as I was that time, it didn't affect me too much.
Okay. 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 Well, I mean, thank goodness for your grandmother, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that woman was amazing. I mean, smart, hard worker, and just honestly, I wish she was alive, because I feel like there's so much more I could have learned from her. But she was a smoker, so she passed away from cancer.
Okay.
And it was a really sad time how she passed, because like when she passed, I wasn't home already. And that's the thing, you know what I mean? Here's what my thought is sometimes when I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, I literally left home when the passing on of me happened, the exchange of like my mom coming, and maybe like 5 or 6 months later, my uncle comes to my mom's place and says grandma passed. So, and I'm over here thinking now, all these years later, did she know? Did she know that her time was basically coming, in the sense? Or, I mean, did she go to a hospital and find out? I don't know. But you know what I mean? She
That's it.
passed, and yeah, she
Yes,
passed.
so-
And I mean,
So you're thinking that maybe she thought that she knew she was going to pass, and so she knew that your dad wouldn't be able to take care of you, and so
yeah,
now it's
yes,
time to call your
exactly.
mom.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, could very well be. So
Mhm.
tell us about that day when your mom came, and in your words, you said there was an exchange. Tell us about that day.
I was standing outside, and my grandma used to sell sunflower seeds. That was her like little mini business. And we were just standing outside at her usual spot where she sells them. And all of a sudden, this group of people come, and my mother just approaches me, and my brother was there, and she hands me ice cream. That is such a significant part for me to remember. And it's a Russian ice cream, plombyr, which you can get in vanilla or chocolate. And she hands me one. And that was basically, okay, thank you, we'll see you later. And we left.
Did you have much interaction with your mom while you lived with your father?
Not really, no. She did visit sometimes, but it wasn't, she would spend so much time there, or we would genuinely have like a mother-daughter time at
Right.
all.
And your brother, was he older or younger?
Oh, he was older.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Different father, I'm assuming?
Yes, different father.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So were you afraid? Do you remember what you were feeling to leave your grandmother?
Oh, I was really sad. I
Yeah.
was really sad. I mean, growing up from that area, I already had friends. I was hoping to start school, because literally around that time they were looking at putting me to school in that area.
Mhm.
So I was kind of setting myself as to, okay, this is where I'm going to stay. And then that happened, and I was just like, wow, this sucks, honestly, because I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? And that was honest, that was just a confusion part, because I just
Sure.
like, what just happened? Why did I just all of a sudden, left my dad? And so yeah, after I got to my mom's, I was really sad and confused for a couple of days. I kept questioning, like, why am I here? Why did you take me? Oh, it just had, kind of just had to happen. And I'm like, okay. I mean, she's an adult, I was a child. What more can she say to me that would get through my brain at that time?
Right.
So what was life like living with your mom?
Terrible. Really bad.
Really?
I'm sorry. I'm not, I don't mean to laugh. It's just that I've passed, I pushed through pain for so many years now, that I finally came to the comfortable position of talking openly about it, of just, laughing through tears almost, or just smiling at the fact that what the heck I went through,
Yeah.
honestly. So, I mean, I don't know how detailed you want to go, what kind of questions you have regarding that, but just ask away. But you know what I mean? If your general question, how it was, bad. Really bad.
What would a normal day in your world then look like?
Well, I was around 6, 7, so I would be getting prepared to go to first grade. We did not have money. She would either work or not work. She was an alcoholic, so that played a huge part on all of our daily lives. Her mom, my grandma, lived with us, and my brother, of course. So all four of us were just compacted into one bedroom apartment. And so basically, I would spend all day playing outside with a bunch of boys because my brother would have all these guy friends, so I would just join him. You know what I mean? And that's how I would spend my time. And they all knew me, and they were always just like welcoming, come Julia, play with us and whatnot. And then, there'll be questions sometimes if it was during, a weekday and a teacher would notice that I'm outside during the prime time of school time. They're like, why aren't you in school? I'm like, because I'm not in school, I'm not enrolled. And then it goes into it more like, okay, let's go chat with your mom. My mom did not like the visits from higher people that were, coming here questioning why is her daughter not in school? Why can't, it's all of that was, and she couldn't afford. It was just, it's a miracle I came out this way, the way that I did through all of that. If, when I'm literally looking back at it. But it's just, then I found a couple of girls that were around my age, and then we played more. And basically that's how I've spent my days, is I was just outside and just try to occupy myself as much as possible, because I knew coming home was not ideal, and some days it was even worse coming home. So I tried to avoid it till the last bell, because it was 6 o'clock would hit. She would be like, if you're not home by 6 p.m., it's gonna be bad in a sense. So I mean, that's more to how my life in general was with her. But otherwise, just not in school, time just kind of spent as a kid just outside and free. I mean, I honestly, I don't really thankful for the fact that I had that kind of freedom. I had really good people that took care of me, that were my brother's friends. Had also really good neighbors that knew me already. They knew my situation. They knew my parents. They knew who they were. And so they understood exactly why I was in that situation,
Right.
what I was doing. They didn't question if they saw me outside during the daylight, when it was, we're supposed to be all in school. They knew exactly why I wasn't. They knew exactly what's going on.
So did families have to pay to educate their children? Did you or did you not go to school just because your mom was too busy like doing whatever she was doing and wasn't making sure you were getting there? Or was it because she physically couldn't or financially couldn't send you to school because it cost money?
Financially, she couldn't send me to school, definitely, because that was a big part of that. Oh, yes. Yep.
Okay, so education is not free. Is that what I'm here? Is that what I'm understanding?
At that time, I remember that she had to obviously pay. You know what I mean? She had to make because there's a paperwork that goes behind it. You have to make sure that you have all proper shots that go into it. And so there was none of that. It was just after, people talked in school, they're like, okay, we will take her in. We will just put her through school and we will take care of everything on
What
our
about
end.
your
Just
brother?
that.
Did he go to school?
Oh, he is, yeah. He went to school when he was maybe like up to 16, maybe 15 years old. Really smart guy, really good with his hands, just can fix anything, can make anything out of anything. So, I mean, I was looking up to him. I saw a really good future for him because I was like, if he can do it, I know I can do it. And so just for me to have that, and honestly, for some reason, with my mom, I don't know, maybe just rubbed her the wrong way, because when she was seeing us succeeding, her kids, she just kind of like, that's not good. Like one day I was studying, she comes in, just knocks the crap out of my desk, completely interrupts my studying time, and just, goes on to her day. I'm like, I was studying. So it was, I don't know, maybe it was just, she didn't get that. You know what I mean? Now that I'm older, it's like just thinking back as to, okay, I'm sorry, did you not get your education? Did your parents not allow you to study?
Right.
Like what the problem was. Right. So if I'm not happy, nobody's happy. It was that kind of mentality that I see from my point of view, looking at that to back then.
Okay.
How much older is your brother than you?
7 years old.
Okay.
Yep.
So how long did you live with your mom?
I lived with her for about a couple of years. It wasn't
Okay.
too long before I was taken into orphanage. Yep.
Okay. And so what transpired then? So you're saying people started coming and asking her questions, why aren't your kids in school? And so then what do you remember from your perspective as a child? What happened?
Well, when people start coming and knocking on our door and the teachers were there, and like I said, the higher ups of like the school, the principal, they were, and I'm just, I was so eager because I knew school was the place for me. There were kids my age, and I knew that I needed to be there. Her mom, my grandma, told her she needs to be in school. Why aren't you putting her through school? So it was just weird because she was so sometimes behind. It would be like Monday, and the principal was there asking why your daughter is not at school. She'd be like, why? It's only Sunday. It's the weekend. You see what I mean? So it was just like her life was just so screwed up to a point that not able to take care of her own kids, and that kind of, it was like a domino effect, one after another.
Okay.
There conflict also between her and her mother? Like
Sometimes it was,
yeah, so you were a part of that too, or witnessing of that.
unfortunately, yes, witnessed way too much for my age. And but whatever, it is what it is. I can't change history or the past. You just got to move on from that and make sure that you don't do that to your kids, or you don't do that to your family members. You just got to take it and go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So then tell us what it felt like to be taken away from, really at that point, your family, because even though it wasn't the best of situations, there was still your family. And so what does that look like when you're taken away from your family by the authorities because they're not taking care of you, and then you're put into an orphanage?
That day also kind of sticks out a little bit because it was like, in what it was a part of one of those movies where you just see like a kid leaning against the window, and it's like, in a slow motion driving away, and they're looking at something. It was me. I was literally sitting in a car, and this group of people was like, it was my mom, my brother, a bunch of like her friends that were just like coming towards me as I was literally being drawn away. I think it was a bus actually that they picked me up and took me to the orphanage. That stuck out. When I left that day, it was a little bit of what's going on. Okay, where am I going? I knew that the authorities obviously knew what they were doing, and at that moment, my mom was, her parental rights were taken away. So once you get that taken away, you're going to have to work really hard in order for you to get that back, in order for you to get your kids back. You got to get your life together. You got to either go to rehab or get a job, or both. You got to make sure that you have to prove to the authorities that you'll be able to take care of them again. But in the meantime, you know where to find her. Once I got to the orphanage, it was, I was angry because I was, okay, here you go. This is your new home. I tried to escape once, and it did not turn out good. It was such a weird confusion because my friend and I were like, okay, Julia, we gotta go now and let's get ready for it, basically. And it was just so weird because we were on the second floor, and my friend was like, okay, you ready? I was like, yeah, okay. And honestly, weirdest thing, we stepped over the ledge, and there was like a little area where we could jump on it. So it wasn't like we were jumping from the second floor. We had something to land on and just to kind of keep going. And as soon as I step out over the window, my nose starts bleeding. I was like, we're not going. It was just weird. And the whole thing was like, what are we doing? Like, where am I gonna go? And the whole time that I was here already, my parents did not come. My mom did not come. Nobody came. What was I supposed to do now? You know what I mean? So obviously I calmed down a little bit after that. You get to know the kids because I mean, you kind of, you don't just, the orphanage I was in, amazing. But obviously the first couple of, maybe even the first year, it is tough. You getting to know all the kids. You are in the mix of all of these different kids that come from such different backgrounds, families, abuse, alcoholism, drugs, and you don't know who's going through what. But at the same time, you're also a kid, and you don't know yet how all the emotions work and how to channel them. So fights, arguments happened. You just had to learn how to resolve that and understand and kind of move on from it. And it's kind of easier to say now, not that I'm an adult, but just at that time it was sleeping in a room with like 12 other girls. I had to just adapt to that, and older you get, okay, now we're moving on to 6 girls a room, you know what I mean? There'll be like 6 different beds. And getting older, okay, and got older, and it was all the way to 2 beds in a room, and that was like the bliss. So I can honestly
go ahead.
I can honestly talk about my orphanage nonstop, because after passing the age of like 8, 9, 10ish, and then going up to 11, 12, those were such a great years of mine, because I made such an amazing friends that became family. I learned so much, saw so much, and I cannot even thank enough the people that took care of us, that were there for us, and the kind of love that they gave us and showed us, because they would leave their homes and they would come and take care of just 100 plus kids. They would be there for us. They would listen to us, and they would give you what you are missing, or you have been missing in a sense. And so that is just the experience that I will always take for the rest of my life, and nothing but positivity to say and to take away from that.
Wow. That's incredible that you were getting as a child what you needed more from an orphanage than from your own family. That's heart-wrenching to me, but thank God for the orphanage, right? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So how long did you live there?
I was there for 5 years.
Okay.
Yep. I was there for 5 years, and that was the best 5 years of my childhood life before the teenager years.
Okay.
And so, yep, so when I was back home living with my mom, there was a Bible study group that I joined, a friend of ours, and she had, a bunch of kids attend. And like I said, they knew my situation, they knew who I was and where I was coming from. And so sometimes, if I didn't show up for the Bible study, they're like, okay, where's Julia? Something is up. But then, I come maybe the next day or the next week, and they know that something has happened, obviously. But there was one woman that came to all those Bible studies, and she remembered me, but I was honestly, at that age, I was pretty young, and so I don't remember her vividly much. But once I was taken into orphanage, she came because after like maybe years or so of me not going to those Bible studies because I was already in an orphanage, she was like, okay, well, how can I find her? She took time, energy, money, resources to get everything compiled, to get the permission from the state to come and visit me.
Wow.
That's, and up to this day, we are still in touch. And
really?
Of course, because like she came to the orphanage, and some the people that took care of us comes up to me. She's like, Julia, you have a visitor. I was like, what? I have a visitor? You know what I mean? That's like such a rare thing. That's like, you have a family visitor, you have a friend visitor. So I go downstairs and I open the door, I come in, and there she is. And honestly, the kind of expectation you have from somebody is like, oh my gosh, I good to see you. But I opened the door and I'm just like, hi. I kind of stood there for a couple of minutes because I could not remember her. I could not remember, you know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, she's telling me who she is. She's telling me how she knows me because I went to those Bible studies and she was there helping out and everything. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm so thankful you're here, but I'm sorry, I cannot remember for the life of me. But we just got to talking, she was telling me more things and just tried to remember, of course. And we just, everything just kind of went up from there because she got a permission to take me home. She came to the orphanage so many times, a bunch of other kids knew her, and she brought candy and cookies all the time. And so that was like the best time, not only for me, but for everybody
For
else.
everybody, for your friends, right?
If I got candy, everybody else got candy,
Yeah.
So that was just such a huge highlight of that she has just came into my life at such an amazing time, and just she was placed there at the perfect time, because then my family from America came and the whole process of adopting started. Otherwise, if my adopted family here did not get me, she would have took care of that process, and I would have been living with her now.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yep.
So as a child living in the orphanage, do you recall seeing your friends get adopted?
Oh yes, of course. We were so big for kids getting we had like a program that kids can go to France. And so we had a bunch of kids that went to like France and visited families there. And then all of a sudden, kids start getting adopted more and more. Bunch went to the United States. So you literally be sitting back and watching, it's like people just getting picked. Okay, this one getting adopted. Next. And that was kind of, I think, that was a big startup for just everybody just rolling out of the orphanage for the past, for the next 2 years after the France part of kids getting the opportunities to go there. Bunch of them got adopted to the United States. So I mean, you witnessed that, you know what I mean? I personally was pretty happy as to where I was. I wasn't jumping at every single opportunity as to, oh, I want to get adopted. I honestly wasn't, you know what I mean? There were kids that wanted to get adopted, of course, and wanted to be part of a family. I was comfortable. I made such a great friends that were my family that I was like, you know what? I'm good where I'm at right now. So, but bunch of kids that were adopted, they are in the States right now. They're my friends. I lived with some of them already back in Minnesota. So I mean, they're literally all over the United States, and I'm super happy for them. And we keep in touch. We saw each other a couple of years back. We kind of had a little reunion. But a bunch of other of my friends, they're some are still in Ukraine, others moved to Russia. So, grew up, and kind of families started to come up, married, kids, and everybody just started moving on.
I love that you still keep in touch with people.
Oh gosh,
I still have a lot more questions. I still have more questions. Okay, so
for sure.
So are you saying that you actually had a choice of whether you wanted to be adopted?
It wasn't exactly like a choice. It was well, how can I explain that? And so that when it came to international family, that was a big opportunity for a child to have, because that if you're going to United States, if you're going to France, it is unlimited opportunities. That you're getting a better family provided for you, and that you just simply cannot pass this opportunity. Kids, of course, got adopted to just nearby families, but in all honesty, I kind of every single time like the adoption part came to me, I kind of had a choice, but I was just like, no, I don't want a family. I'm like, ask her or ask him. I did not want it. And so, when it came to American family, was, a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of pressure, but, people, of course, talked and said, Julia, this is good, because here's the thing. You are only seeing what you're seeing right now, is the fact that you're leaving behind your friends. You're leaving behind your aunt that has, been coming and visiting you and been taking care of you. And that is understandable. But you need to look past it, and you need to look into the future as to where you can end up, what you can have. And my aunt, she was really, really good with just letting me know that, of course, you're going to miss everybody. Of course, this is really hard for you, but you have bigger plans and opportunities that are waiting for you. So it was a perfect choice that I made with coming to United States, and especially getting adopted by such an amazing family.
So then tell me what that looks like. And how old were you when that family did they physically come to the orphanage?
My family, yes. So they actually adopted a little boy from the orphanage first. And so every single time we have an international family come through, we throw like a little party. And I was one of the girls that was always dancing. If they came during like Christmas time, we would put on a show. And kids would like show their talents, who would sing, who would dance, and who would do like little skits. It was just all of that. And I was a part of it. And my dad, he saw me first time when they were adopting my brother Alex. And he just didn't think too much of it, just kind of like, oh, okay, this is what he's telling me from his point of view now, you know what I mean?
Okay.
He's be like, this is, yeah, I saw you dance, but we obviously took Alex and we left. And then what, maybe a couple years later, they went back to Ukraine to visit Alex's grandma, and they came back to the orphanage to visit, and we put on another show for them because they brought gifts and presents for us, and that was such a huge part. But when we did another show for them and I was dancing, my dad was just like, to my mom, hey, she's still here. My mom goes, who? That girl. She's right there. She's still here. So, they were with a translator, and after the show was over, they came up to me, and the translator, asked, she was like, hey, Julia, this is a family that has, obviously adopted this little boy, Alex, and they're just wondering if they would just like to get to know you a little bit, if you don't mind. They would like to talk to you. I was like, sure, no problem. So I took them down to my bedroom, I showed them around and whatnot. And the question came, Julia, do you want to be part of our family? I said back, I was like, I don't know. That's the thing. I literally said, I don't know. And I knew, because every single one of those kids that was there behind the closed doors would have jumped at that opportunity of saying yes. But like I said, I was so comfortable in my life at that point where I was, that I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, presents are great, sure. Food is good, candies. I mean, I don't know. Just did not, at that point, I was kind of like, I was good in my life and happy where I was. So they obviously, had a good conversation with me, and further, asked more questions, and we just kind of, I guess, came to a conclusion where I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm gonna be a part of your family now, because like I said, there was a lot of that came from my aunt saying, Julia, this is good, you should go to United States and let them adopt you. And then my people that were at the orphanage were saying the same thing. They're like, you have this great opportunity, you need to take it.
What a hard thing
do you
to
recall I'm sorry, Alice, do you recall the time frame between that day that the family came there until the time that you actually left and came to the United States? What was the time period?
My adoption took a couple of years, actually.
Did it?
It was a long process, expensive. People should know that adopting is expensive. And it was a really long process, in all honesty, because there's so much paperwork that was involved. You have to go through a bunch of shots, like medical stuff. I had to go to a hospital so many times just so I can be up on all these shots that they were, giving me. Even when after I got to United States, I had to go to the hospital so many times with my mom, because it was almost like every month I had to get like this shot in my arm, and it was so painful that I was just like, my goodness, you know what I mean? When will I be able to cut up with that? But the whole process, it was long. I was obviously still, in the orphanage, getting my stuff situated, and obviously going to school. So I wasn't just like, I dropped everything. I said, I'm getting adopted. Nobody bother me. And, I'm going to stop going to school. No, I still obviously did my chore. I still did my work, and I still went to school. So when that part of me leaving to United States came closer and closer, that's when everything started to wrap up. My school started to, give me all the final documents that I finished this and this. I started saying goodbye to a bunch of people and taking a bunch of photos. It was very sentimental ending. It was very sad too, because I honestly had like hesitations towards the end, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this, or I don't know. And they're like, why? And I'm just like, I don't want to leave everybody behind. That's what I was just feeling like. And at that time, it was, you were leaving your whole family behind.
So then how old were you when you actually came to the United States for the first time?
I was 13. I was just going to be turning 14, 13. Yeah, it was in that range. Honestly, it's been a while.
Okay.
It was 2008 that it
Okay,
clicked right on there. Yep.
Okay. Okay. And so when you came to the United States, you didn't speak any English.
Well, actually, my parents, they provided me a tutor when I was in an orphanage. And so I took lessons with a tutor. And after being here in the United States, I went to school for tutoring for English. They tried to help me as much as possible to make me feel comfortable with the language, just around the culture, and being around people that are obviously not speaking my language. But to be honest, like when you are coming to a different country and you literally don't know English, you don't know the language of whatever country you're in, it's actually pretty quick to pick up on that language, because 24/7, guess what's around you? That language.
Right.
That's the thing. And I'm hearing that. I was very shy. My accent was very thick. Half of the words were not pronounced right. And so that made me a little bit kind of pull back. And I'm just like, I don't know if I feel comfortable. Like, I don't feel comfortable saying it. And my mom was like, you know this word. You know exactly what you're saying. You know exactly what you want. Just say it with confidence. But the English part was pretty difficult. But I managed to get through it with tutors. My parents being very, very patient with me and helpful. Teachers, I had amazing ESL teachers that helped me literally throughout high school. I wasn't bothered, and people understood where I was coming from. People knew exactly the kind of situation what my language was. And so it was kind of a hall pass, in all honesty. You know what I mean? Like, I remember one time this teacher was just, I don't know what she said, but she kind of like said something. I don't remember, but like she yelled at me, and I just stood there, and I'm like, why? And like one of the guys in my class, they were like, oh, hi, yeah, this is a girl from the Ukraine, and she does not speak English. She was like, I am so sorry, you know what I mean? So I was like, it's fine. But that was because once I got to United States with the language part, I was right away put into school. And with my mom, she was really smart with that actual move, because my brothers, they're both the same age as me. So she said, Julia, you can either finish the 7th grade, or you can go into the 8th grade with your brothers and finish it up. So I was like, you know what? This is going to be easier, because if I go with my brothers, I have somebody that knows me, of course. I will feel a little bit more comfortable, and I feel like I'll do better. And so I was able to go into the 2nd semester of 8th grade with my brothers, finish it up, pass it miraculously, and then go on to the high school. So, and throughout high school, I had an amazing ESL teacher that helped me out with English so much. And I'm really thankful for that for the rest of my life, because that was really difficult. So English is not an easy language to learn, people. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's so interesting that you would say that. That's so interesting. So do you get the opportunity now to speak your birth language, for lack of a better term? Do you have friends that you can communicate with in your first language?
Oh, certainly. My friends in Minnesota, yes, we chat sometimes, we get in touch, and sometimes they come and visit. But when I was there, that's all we did. When we get together, it's all Russian.
Okay.
Yep. And like, I call my aunt back to Ukraine, it's Russian. So
Okay.
I get plenty of it.
Awesome. Okay. So when your American family came and got you from the orphanage, what state were you living in?
I moved to Iowa. They
Iowa.
are from
So
Iowa.
you
Yes.
went from Ukraine to Iowa.
Yes.
Wow. What?
We'll never forget that day. I mean, obviously the time change, the jet lag as well, and plus driving 3 hours from Minnesota, because that's Minneapolis, that's where we landed, from New York down to Iowa. It was completely dark. We walk in with all these bags. My mom was exhausted. She just goes upstairs right into bed, and my dad was like kind of a little bit showing me around, and we go upstairs. He's like, okay, this is your room. I don't know what you're saying, man, but okay. He just kind of walks me in. I have no clue what anybody says to me. You understand little words such as yes, no, hello, thank you. Of course, it was pretty standard to understand that. And I go into the room that was for me, and I'm just like, wow, all of this is mine, of course. And I was like, holy crap. So I sit on the bed and I just sit there. I just sit there and I just stare at nothing. Literally, I'm just like, what do I do now? I'm wide awake. It's a time change. It's a morning right now in Ukraine, and it's pitch black, and it's just in the middle of the night here in Iowa. My dad walks in, and this is how he says it from his point of view. He's like, Julia, I walked into your bedroom and you're just sitting there like this, your hands on your knees, and you just kind of like, what do I do now? Like, what are these people just brought me here, just dropped me off? And you just, he says that you just looked so sad. And I'm like, well, of course I was sad. I mean, we just left the country of mine. I left a bunch of my friends behind. So it was really, really, really sad, of course. But obviously he went to bed and I just kind of stayed up, but got adjusted to it and kind of fell asleep. But the next morning when I woke up and I looked out the window, guess what I saw? Nothing. I saw nothing, and it freaked me out. I'm like, where am I? I was just, I was like, holy crap. I was like, fields, more fields. I go outside, it's more fields. We get in the car and it's about 15-minute drive to the town. And I was like, what is going on? Where am I? That was very, very strange for when I moved to Iowa, because I had to get used to going from the city to complete country.
Wow. Wow.
So
That's
interesting.
so interesting. So interesting. So then tell us in a nutshell how you go. Okay, so we know how you've gone from the Ukraine to Iowa, but now you're in the country in Virginia. So in a nutshell, tell us how you got to where you are today.
Oh, well, obviously going from Iowa to Minneapolis, I wanted the city, I got it. I went there for school. My friends were there. It worked out perfect. Then I met my boyfriend, and he said he's from Virginia. And I said, I always wanted to be by the ocean. I love the ocean. I love water, and I love being near water. So when he told me he is in Virginia by the water, I was like, that's great. And then his parents moved. His parents moved out to the country. And then I'm like, okay, this is great. I was like, this is just so 360. I'm right back to where I was. I am just right back to where I was. And it's just so funny. So I'm just like, you know what? I started, with the city, went to country, back to city, and now back to country. Here we go. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know. I just kind of, I have a little bit of experience of everything. So I don't mind it. Just gotta go with it and enjoy it.
Although it can't be as cold here as it is in Iowa.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? We just had 70-degree weather today.
I know,
went
right?
outside. Oh, I went outside and I was just, thank God, this is
Yeah.
just, it's here, and
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. Weather affects my mood. So when it's nice outside, I am all ready to go. Let's do things. Let's
Yeah.
dance. I don't care, you know? So, but no, I really enjoy Virginia very much, and I'm really happy here, honestly.
Good. And you're only an hour from the ocean, right?
Oh yeah. So I mean,
Yeah. So you
carved
can dip
out.
your toes in the ocean at any point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How long have you been in Virginia?
I've been here since June
Okay.
this year. Yes, since June. So I visited here before, and I liked it. And like I said, I love the weather. So I was like, I definitely see myself living here someday. If that was the case, if that's where my life went, I was like, I can certainly see myself, no problem. So, but so far it's been great.
Yeah, we love the ocean too.
Yeah. Yeah. We love
Yes.
the ocean. Yeah. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, definitely, man, I don't, I'm a go-getter. So with how I am with just wanting projects, wanting work, I strive to be the best that I can with putting my skills and knowledge of what I have worked in so far and learned. Just definitely see myself being successful, whatever it is, because I wanted to be I I just wanted to be in a good spot in my life and not fall back as to what my where I come from and my parents what they could not give me. This is something that I am looking forward to just making that for my own self and my future kids whenever that will be. But here's the thing. When I say things like that, it's almost a little bit unfair to the parents of mine here in the United States because I've been here long enough in order for me to say that I was given a great life. I was given an amazing opportunities. And so I have them to thank for so much that has happened so far, for all of their constant, undivided attention, support. So knowing that I have that kind of almost, backbone, I suppose, to fall back on if in time of need, I just see myself honestly growing as a person and being the best version of myself that I can be in the next 5 years. I mean, speaking personally, speaking career wise, I mean, God knows I am just whatever object is thrown my way regarding life, regarding some kind of change event. Thankfully, I've been able to overcome it and ended up on much higher way than I was, would be thinking that I would end up. But
So
I think that's awesome for you to say that, just be a better version of yourself, like how you've persevered as a human over the last 26 years. Like, yeah, I don't see anything but good things for you. I don't see anything but good things for you.
well, thank you.
So, and whatever your definition of success is, I'm certain that it will be different in 10 years than it is today. But
Hmm.
I absolutely believe that you will make a difference in this world.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely have really good role models in my life, and I'm thankful for them. Thankful for constant support and just whatever experience that I've went through. The people that I've had that came through my life, and left. I'm thankful for that. It's
Yes.
I you
Yes.
living life just you know everybody's different. Everybody has their own experiences, life events that they go through, and that is just how it is for individually. The way I see my life, you know I've seen enough, I've been through enough, and what I don't want is the kind of past I've had. And so this is what I kind of take and I go with that. um
That's
I
good.
mean,
That's good.
that is good.
Yeah, that's good.
So, Julia, is there anything you want the audience to know that we didn't touch on?
no, I mean, not really. That's basically, I mean, that's dipping into my personal life of, coming from Ukraine to United States and, touching up on how I grew up, a little bit about my mom, dad, my family, and just my great years in an orphanage and how it has changed my life forever. And I think that wraps it to a good point as to where I'm at right now in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so good.
That's
So we
awesome.
are going to close up asking you 3 what we call rapid fire questions that we are asking all the women in this series. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, so the first question is, when you need to be brave, but you feel fear, What do you do?
Pray.
Oh, that's good.
Good answer. Good
That's
answer.
good.
What's on your nightstand right now?
Nothing. I don't have a nightstand. I have a chair next to me.
Okay, what's on your chair?
Blankets and cats.
Okay, good answer.
That's
Good
good.
answer. Okay, and then the last one would be, what is a snapshot of an ordinary moment that brings you great joy?
My friends. I just reflect on that, and I don't know, snapshot. I mean, can you elaborate that exactly how I could? I mean, okay, you said it's like a quick. Okay, yeah.
I
Snapshot
think
that
that was a
brings me.
great answer. I think that was a great answer.
Honestly, you guys, like thinking back to the orphanage, the kind of years I've had there with those kind of people, that brings me so much just joy knowing that I had those people in my life and continue to have. So I have a lot to reflect on, and that keeps me more moving forward, because it's like, you know what, the kind of experience you took with you is going to stick with you for the rest of your life, and you can share that with other people, and you can motivate them to do better, and you can be present for somebody else.
That's so good.
So awesome. Thank you so much
So
for
good.
sharing your story with us and for spending this time with us. Our viewers, you're welcome to, listeners, you're welcome to leave any comments, questions for Julia, and we will try to get you answers. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome,
No, it's
honestly.
great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so listeners, we thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
Thank you.
Hey, you guys, we just want to say thank you today. We want to thank our listeners and those of you that have subscribed to the Simple Conversations podcast. We want to thank our sound and production team for all of their hard work behind the scenes. That would be Tim and Alyssa Ranker. And we also want to give a big shout out to CMS Mortgage Solutions and our friend Karina Carter, because without her, it would be really challenging for us to make this podcast. So keep listening and share it with your friends. Thanks.
Hey y'all, this is KJ from Simple Conversations Where Grace Meets Strength. Thank y'all so much for listening and tuning in. If it weren't for y'all, there would be no reason for us to do this. Listen, we need your help. We need your support. So head on over to patreon.com/Simple Conversations and decide exactly how you want to be involved. For $5 a month, you would get access to behind the scenes content. For $25 a month, you would get that as well as a shout out on the podcast or fan input. As a supporter for $50 a month, you would get all that in the previous two tiers, as well as a one-time gift or book that Alice and I have read or are reading that we think would add value to your life. Or for $100 a month, we consider you family. You ever heard that before? That's friends that are so good that we consider you family. So you would get everything in the previous three tiers, as well as exclusive branded merchandise from Simple Conversations. So listen, our heart's desire is to do more and to be more. And so in order for us to do that, we need help. And so we're dependent on you to help us make that happen. So thanks for tuning in and thanks for your support. See y'all.